Hello and welcome to the Inns of Court Armoured Car Regiment channel. Today I will be covering the actions of C Squadron of the regiment from the 2nd of June to the 5th of June. June the 2nd. When the plan was first presented to C Squadron, it all seemed to be a bit fantastical. Some might have even said a suicide mission. The whole scheme depended upon surprise, speed, and a great determination from the troops involved. However, by the time the training and the final briefing had been completed, morale was high and the squadron felt confident that the plan could be pulled off. June the 3rd. The squadron and its vehicles headed down towards the quayside at Southampton and, as per the plan, loaded up with the vehicles split as evenly as possible. Loaded aboard LCT 513, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Robert Hawkey, were 7 Daimler Dingo scout cars, 8 Daimler armoured cars, 6 M5 half-tracks, which totalled at 21 vehicles. In addition, aboard LCT 513 were the following personnel: Captain Warren, second in command of C Squadron, 7 subalternates from the Inns of Court, including Chaplain Padre the Reverend John D. Boulan Lance, 2 subalternates from the 73rd Field Company Royal Engineers, 59 other ranks, 41 from the Inns of Court, 18 from the Royal Engineers. Also, there were 2 men with a balloon from the 51st RAF Balloon Unit, and Richard North, a BBC war correspondent. Loaded aboard LCT 507, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Gerald Ashcroft, were 6 Daimler Dingo scout cars, 6 Daimler armoured cars, 6 M5 half-tracks, 2 Humber scout cars, 1 Staghound armoured car, totalling at 21 vehicles. In addition, aboard LCT 507 were the following personnel: Colonel Bingley, commanding officer of the Inns of Court Regiment, Major Strakos, commanding officer of C Squadron, 4 subalternates from the Inns of Court, 3 subalternates from the 73rd Field Company Royal Engineers, 65 other ranks, 48 from the Inns of Court, 17 from the Royal Engineers. In addition, 2 men with a balloon from the 51st RAF Balloon Unit. Chest bells, also known as chestnut palings, were also loaded onto each craft. These were to be used should the vehicles require additional traction or encounter soft spots on the beach, being laid out on the beach ahead of the vehicles in order to form a temporary road surface. The final formation was almost as planned, with some minor changes. It was as follows: 9 half-size Sabre troops consisting of 1 Daimler Dingo scout car, 1 Daimler armoured car, 1 M5 half-track carrying Royal Engineers and explosives. 3 half-size Sabre troops consisting of 1 Daimler Dingo scout car, 1 Daimler armoured car. 1 headquarters troop consisting of 1 Daimler Dingo scout car, 2 Daimler armoured cars, 2 Humber scout cars, 1 Staghound armoured car, and 3 M5 half-tracks. In total, the number of vehicles had increased from the planned 38 to 42, the cause of which appears to be that the LCTs assigned to the squadron were LCT Mark IVs. These LCTs had a much wider beam than the Mark IIIs and therefore had a larger carrying capacity. It appears that when this detail was found out, additional vehicles were sourced at short notice. These appear to be 2 Humber scout cars, 1 Staghound armoured car, 1 M5 half-track. The only other difference from the planned vehicle arrangement was that the headquarters troop had dropped its white scout car in favour of an M5 half-track. All vehicles were waterproofed, as had become the fashion from the numerous previous training exercises. Furthermore, all vehicles were loaded with extra petrol and rations, as the force would need to be self-supporting during its mission. In addition to the 2 LCTs, additional staff were assigned to other landing craft. These included, but were not limited to, Captain Gill, liaison officer who sailed with the Royal Winnipeg Rifles in another landing craft. Lieutenant K, intelligence officer, sailed with the 50th Northumbrian Division. The intelligence officer was to act as a wireless link between the squadron and the headquarters of the invasion force. In order to assist the intelligence officer in their role of acting as a wireless link between the squadron and the headquarters, a single jeep with 2 crew were to be landed upon Juno Beach at HR+7. This jeep and its crew were to act as a relay link between the intelligence officer and the squadron elements inland. June the 4th. The invasion was delayed by 24 hours, so with their LCT still tied up alongside the quayside, the troops made do with their time carrying out any final preparations on their vehicles and playing games upon the quayside, substituting a ball with a piece of wood. June the 5th. Although the LCT Mark IV had a top speed of 10 knots, travelling the full distance from Southampton to the Normandy coast at maximum speed for such a distance would strain the craft's engines and increase the risk of them breaking down. Therefore they would make the journey at a cruising speed of 6 knots, meaning that it would take nearly 18 hours to carry out the 120-mile journey. At 1200 hours, the LCTs carrying C Squadron of the Inns of Court and their Royal Engineers slowly moved down Southampton water towards the Channel. For the Inns of Court, Operation Overlord had begun. For the troops aboard, it was hard not to think of it as another training exercise, as so many times before they had witnessed the panorama of balloons, landing craft and escort ships. A signal flag from the Commander-in-Chief wishing all good luck and Godspeed gave some further encouragement as they crossed the bar and headed for the open sea. Upon hitting the open sea, the illusion that this was another training exercise was quickly dispelled, and the strange tight feeling gripped every stomach. The crossing was rough as the LCTs pressed on in heavy seas. These flat-bottomed vessels were at their mercy. Frequently the port side was swept by the waves. The onboard pumps were in constant use throughout the journey to continually bail out the vessels, and seasickness was so apparent among all aboard, including the Royal Navy personnel, that the issuing and consumption of anti-sickness pills was compulsory. Under great difficulty, due to rough seas, maps and photographs were unsealed and studied for one last time. As darkness fell, there was an air raid warning, but thankfully nothing materialised. After this, the crews tried to get what rest they could as the landing craft plunged unsteadily through the darkness and the heaving seas. Thank you for listening, and the references are on screen now. I hope you can join me on the 6th of June, and until next time, cheerio.